Low, yeah, okay.
All right. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. This is the May 2nd, 2019 Environmental Conservation Board meeting. We have an agenda tonight with 2 items on it. So we can go ahead and get started with Jamal Muhammad, address 188 Westlake Boulevard, tax map 64.19-1-80, demolish existing dock and construct a deck. Please come to the podium, state your name, who you're here to represent.
Raul Matos, I'm the architect for Nemoje Design Group. I'm representing Mr. Muhammad Jamal.
Hello.
In the last meeting, we have left this halfway through because we didn't have the system to collect the water for the deck. I had at the time a Coltec system, but as a recommendation of the advice of the board, we changed it to the rain garden, and which I guess you have probably a copy of it.
So last time you were here, we had a list of a number of things that we had asked for, so we'll just go down. I think most of these have been addressed when I took a look in here. All right, so full set of drawings to the file. What's the date on these ones? April 18th, 2019. Great, I think this is the latest one. And if I'm not mistaken, this does include the rain garden on it now currently, correct? The one that we had requested?
You have it, I
It's the
believe.
Coltec, right?
Yeah.
No, he switched it out, you just mentioned,
Oh, okay.
for our rain garden.
It's the 19th,
Pardon?
the 19th.
19th. So the drawings are submitted, full set of drawings to the file, 3 sets we asked for, there's 3 sets. Show the silt fence on the plan.
It should be the second page, the other one. 8, 0.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ready to go. Well, great,
Yeah,
great.
Okay.
Right, rain garden or Coltec, and you opted for a rain garden for some emails that were going back and forth, that's right there. Do you have rain garden calculations?
Yes,
Looks
right
like
there to
here.
the right-hand side.
Awesome, okay, so we'll need to have,
a diagram.
beautiful, let me make a note.
What's the rain garden connected to? Is it connected to a leader drain?
It's gonna be connected to a leader drain, which is gonna be kind of challenge to get them through because it's a deck. You know how the deck disperses the water and it kind of channels through, you know, the planks because there's no continuous surface, but it's gonna be a leader and gutters.
Okay. Over here it says 6-inch pipe connected to leader. That's on one side. What is that?
That's the pipe that's coming down from the leader
Okay, where's that going? Where is it?
into the right into the pound, the garden.
Oh, okay. Because it says 6-inch pipe connected to the leader on one side and then pipes on the other side of the porch.
No, not to the other side. It's gonna be just to that side of the wood, probably that.
It's a
just
comment.
The connection is gonna be to the rain garden
Okay, is that
That
coming,
corner,
is that,
but
is
the
that coming
far-
from, is that coming from the leader?
from the leader, yeah.
Okay,
The
because
pipe.
you were just saying something about the porch is difficult or something like that. You just have to connect it to a leader from,
Through leaders and gutters, yes.
okay. Is that, it's a gutter, okay, is that existing?
No, because this is new.
No,
remember.
the gutter and the leader, is that existing?
Nothing is existing.
Nothing is existing?
No, that's gonna be connected to it. Because the fact that we have.
Well,
now
the house is existing, right?
The house is existing, but it's
Yeah, okay,
nothing.
and I see it's a
The house is
proposed
not in
deck.
question.
But, huh?
The house is not in question
No,
at this point.
I'm not questioning whether it is or not. I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from and where it's going. Is the gutter on the house?
On the house is It's a long house, there's no gutters, or that the rain goes down to the ground.
Okay, so how is it gonna collect it and pipe and get there?
The water that's in question now is for the deck, right?
No, you could, yeah, but what usually happens is that someone will take a leader from the house and run the water as a substitute, and run it from the house to the rain garden.
Well, in this particular case, it's gonna be from the deck, which is the one that's gonna be
How are you
filled.
gonna collect it under the deck?
Do you wanted the water to be collected from the deck or from the house?
What usually, as I said, usually what happens is that it comes off, someone will, because even the proposed deck, you can't, I don't know how you can collect the water from the deck, okay? So
then-
usually what
and
happens.
the first time, how we are asking to have something to collect water from, something that's gonna be built, that is no way.
But that's what I'm
How
saying,
to collect the
what
water
happens
from.
usually is the substitute is that you'll take a leader from the house, okay, and run it from the house down there as a substitute to that, because I don't know how you can collect water from a deck.
That was not the case when we came over at the first time. We never heard that we're gonna be collecting water from the house.
Well,
we said that-
okay, then how are you gonna collect the water from the deck?
So what's the question here now? I don't understand.
The-
I mean,
The
we
rain
need-
garden.
we need- do we need
The
the,
rain garden needs water.
Yes, but we are running this meeting, we are in this case because we are building a deck.
That's right.
And then the deck,
And
In
I've,
case.
I've never seen anybody collect water from a deck, okay?
Then why are
What
we
happens
doing
is
this?
that it comes off of a roof.
I asked the board, and I sent an email to see if we can be waived from not having anything like that, because what we are building here is the deck.
So,
But anyhow, we collected, we came up with that solution.
right, going back to the original drawings from last meeting, you had a Coltec that was on the plans. How are you going to get any water to that Coltec?
How are we gonna get water from the deck to the Coltec?
Anything. How are you gonna
How-
collect water from any part of this property, be it the deck you were building, from the leaders from the house, from another collection system? Like, what was the plan for that Coltec?
Because of your requirements of having a pit that will be in place of that particular job in front of this board, to collect the water and send it over to that Coltec or to a rain garden. Now, when I came over here last time, I said, how are we gonna collect the water from a deck when the water percolates through the planks? So, and then I sent a letter to the board, I don't know if you read it, in an
Yes.
email, asking, please, could you pass so that we don't have to do this, because there's no water to be collected,
I read that you had asked for a waiver.
for a waiver.
Yes, I saw that, yes.
Now, we can collect it in a deck if you want me to be inventive and put some planks underneath the deck, some kind of a roofing underneath the planks, and have the water that's gonna percolate into the ground anyhow, to be collected into that underneath the deck, because I had seen it before. And they sell those planks that goes in between the joists of the deck, and then the water falls into there and it goes out with a minimum inclination,
have
and
to
then
do-
into a
All you
well.
have to do is put a gutter on the house and the leader from that gutter, okay, and run it to the rain garden. I've never heard of anyone collecting water from a deck. I'm sure you can come up with some sort of scheme, but I've never seen it before.
Absolutely, I never hear of that, but the case in particular
But we-
now is the deck, not the house.
But what happens is that what we want is, because you're building the deck, we want mitigation. That's what it is. In the code, it requires some sort of mitigation, okay? So the mitigation is that, okay, so you collect some water that wasn't collected on the house before and put it in the rain garden. That will be the mitigation. That's what we've seen, I don't know how many hundreds of times. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe just 100 times. I don't know, it's a very simple, it's a very simple solution. You put a gutter, that's why I asked you to have a gutter. You put a gutter on the house, you don't have to do the whole house. All you have to do is just
No, we can do that,
one
because
slope.
that was the calculation was for the back part of the deck. We can We can put the leader coming from here to there and collect it into the.
That's
into
right,
the
you
rain
put it,
garden.
if you, I don't know, I'm suggesting this, what I've seen. I don't know how you're gonna decide, how you make a decision on what it's gonna be. But what I've seen, okay, is that someone will have a gutter on a house, put a leader from the gutter down the corner of the house, and then run the leak.
That's fine, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay, a very simple solution. You don't have to come up with any inventive way, which I've never seen anybody do before, collect water from the deck.
Is you said that there's currently no gutters on this house?
I don't think there's any gutters in the house. It's an old house that,
It's pre-existing, non-conforming, this house.
it's an
here.
existing old house, very old house, 100 years old maybe.
So you're talking about a gutter along here and here?
Yeah, to the back of the house, we can do that.
Is that what you're talking about?
That's no
Well,
problem.
so it doesn't need to be a
I-
Coltech.
he doesn't
He's
have
got
to-
a rain garden on here,
Mhm.
and there was an so I had an assumption when, specifically, I'm talking about myself now, when he had a Coltech on this drawing last time,
Yeah.
I
Right.
assumed that he was collecting water from an
Right.
existing water collection system and putting it through the Coltech.
Right.
No,
Which,
it's not
which
there.
existing water collection?
That's a good question. I don't know.
There isn't one
Well,
Well,
now it's coming
but
to light,
he was
correct.
using a Coltech, he must have been collecting, we assumed he was
Right, I
collecting water
assumed
from
it-
someplace.
I did not, I made the assumption, which is an incorrect assumption, that if you put Coltech on a plan, you had a way to collect water to get it into that Coltech.
That's a
Apparently
reasonable yeah.
Apparently that is not the case, which is why the Coltech was removed.
Can I show you something? If there was a gutter put here, this is the proposed deck. If you put a gutter here and ran it into either a rain garden, yeah, that's relatively inexpensive.
That's fine, we can put
I'd be satisfied
fine.
with just,
Okay,
I don't know
let's
what
do
the roof
that.
looks like. I don't
Right.
think, I would guess that you can't do both, the whole entire L. If you did just one side and ran
Right.
it to where the proposed rain garden is, that's
Fine.
fine. That's fine with me.
You have to realize this pitch is like this at that house. I'm familiar with it, so.
The pitch on the roof you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I know the former owner.
I mean,
Yeah, so if there was a gutter here and here, then,
And then just run it down.
that?
Just run it right to there.
okay.
Okay.
I'm satisfied with
I'm-
just,
Is
I
that
don't
good?
think you can do both slopes because I don't think I don't think that there's roof slope down on both of those sides. Normally it does not, only slopes down on one side.
Right.
Well, we're doing this to protect the deck, the runoff.
No, we're not doing it to protect the deck, we're doing it to mitigate the impact of the deck, whether he,
No, well, that's what I'm talking about.
okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So it doesn't need
it's
to be
not
the
So
whole
protected.
that's
side.
all
It
right.
doesn't
You
need the
would
whole
put a
thing.
gutter
I'll put a
back
gutter over
here.
there and connect it to the
Fine.
rain
Rain
garden.
garden,
Fine.
fine.
No problem.
It's good for me.
So in order for that to be put, we need some sort of, what do we need added to the file for this? Does it need a new plan?
I think it could be written on the plans here.
Yeah,
and
it's
then,
fine.
I think that's fine as
And
well.
put it
Yeah,
into
we-
the
There's three
could-
copies
he
here, I'm
could-
fine with that.
requirements and,
You
we're
could
good.
put it on the plan very easily and just submit a plan.
Yeah,
I
gutters
put
are
a
not-
line over there, intermittent line that goes from the roof
all right,
of the
gutter
existing house into the rain
and
garden.
leader.
No big deal.
Two proposed rain gardens.
On plan for proposed rain garden.
Did you use AutoCAD or something like that for this? Okay, so he could do it very easily, in
Mhm.
AutoCAD.
Fine. All right, so you'll have to, along with that, you'll have to also make sure that your rain garden calculations are correct with that.
Yeah, because
These weren't submitted, you didn't submit you didn't talk to the town engineer or anything about this, did you? No. Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying,
Usually we do that after we
yeah,
accept
I
it as
know, but I
complete.
thought you
you
might.
will look at it
All right.
sooner or later.
Other things that from last time, show
Nice
floating
photo,
boom,
Ken.
we have
Yeah,
that.
it's there.
Yeah.
What do you see?
No,
Oh, look,
I'm good.
oh, no, is this the actual one right here? This, on your,
Do you have
Yeah,
detail?
no, this is,
oh, okay.
Is there any
You
detail
wanna
on the
see it?
boom? Is there any detail on the boom? Besides saying
It's
it's,
right around the existing deck dock.
188.
there's detail, is there detail on the boom?
The boom is a boom. It's gonna be
Okay.
holding the whole of the breeze from going into the lake.
Okay,
Those kind of,
okay.
they have different different kinds of.
Sometimes
Alright.
you just need to-
You- you-
No, we don't always require,
Right,
so
no,
that's fine.
no,
It's fine.
that's fine.
Alright, he's got it on there, that's fine.
It's on the blimp plan.
Can you read this? I can't read that one.
Ramp on land?
I know, I'm not quite sure what that says. Materials to be used for the deck and the dock. Do you have anywhere in here that describes the materials to be used for the deck and the dock? Or in a letter or anything?
Probably on the drawings of the deck, it's gonna be like that,
Trex?
track or, yeah,
It says Trex on there, or it says
It's a
synthetic?
timber deck.
Fine,
Timber deck is stronger, we use that.
works
We
for me.
don't need to do
What
that.
about the dock?
The dock itself is also timber deck.
Okay, is that also on here? It says,
Yeah, on the drawings,
Yeah.
on the drawings of the dock.
Marty, you saw it, it says what it is? Awesome, great. Copy of the letter for the LLC, I did see that in here, no problem.
You have it, yeah.
Yep, thank you for submitting that. Let's see. Can you read this one? I can't read that note. Let's go through my letter too. Since you're not using a Coltech, we do not need any of the other heavy machinery. We do need a note that says, are you gonna be using any heavy machinery at all?
Anyway,
Backhoe skid steer, are you gonna be using any heavy machinery?
they're gonna do everything by hand. It's
Great.
just
Do we have a
simple
note that says
couple
that?
feet. It's a note there that says everything is by hand.
Do you know where that is?
So, I remember doing it, but I can't locate it now. It's in one of the plans. I don't know what it is.
It should have been a doctor.
I know, it's not my note.
It looks like level is that word. What, ramp on level doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Is there
I'm sure it
somewhere.
won't affect Western civilization.
Maybe it might be on the other side. When I deleted the Coltech.
Pardon me?
When I deleted the Coltech, it might have been on the Coltech.
Okay, so we'll need a note, and since you're updating, you have to update it anyways for the gutter and the leader. If you could just put a note
It's gonna be by hand.
somewhere in here, all
Yeah.
work to be done by hand.
Mhm. Isn't it on the other first one?
Deck drawings. Do we have details on the deck drawing?
No,
Something.
I don't see.
Is that what it says?
Oh, here,
No.
here's
Just
here's
says no
the
fueling.
floating platform.
Great, and this is the, no, it's
Yeah.
not the deck. Do we have specific deck drawings?
Dock platform structure. That
That's
must
the
be-
dock, right. Julie, did you notice anywhere that the specific deck drawings, do we have details on that? That's the dock right there.
You got the dock.
Oh, then I get to the house. This is foundation.
That's it right there?
This is the first floor.
Oh, the deck's up over there. Perfect. And we have the,
174 feet, so yeah.
great, and the dimensions are all on that deck? Perfect. Perfect. Great.
Oh, that is there.
All right, so that was everything that was in here. Is there a statement, we probably asked this last time, is there a statement about calling the engineer, the wetlands inspector prior to start of work? Do you have that as a statement on here?
Yes, it's on the, even before you do the sill fence, it's all the.
Well, so you call, he gets called when you
Mhm.
install the silt fence, you install the boom, the floating boom, give him a call, he comes in, inspects the erosion control set of measures and the boom, says you're good to go, start work.
Yes.
And then, again, you have to call him when you finish the project.
Mhm.
He comes, make sure before you remove the erosion control set of measures, he comes and inspects again, make sure everything's all right, then you can pull them out of the ground.
Yep.
You have a note about that on the plans?
I don't see it.
It says weekly inspections of all control measures. Okay.
No, it's a specific call call the wetlands inspector prior to the installation, after the installation erosion control measures and loading boom, erosion control measure, is it?
No, not the flow.
It should be there somewhere.
Well, it is, well, it isn't. It's not a,
When I have it, when I have it there. I had everything there, but then they rushed me to do.
This is the next one, this is the house.
I mean, kind of says it, but not exactly how he wants.
Here it is, what it says, so how big was that? This was the notes.
There,
Yes.
that's where you want to see.
No fueling, that's fine. Well inspection shall be present at the time of silt fence installation and removal, fine, that's fine. Spill kit during construction. You can remove both those, the fueling and the spill kit, as long as you put a note that says all work to be done by hand. You remove those two. That's fine, great, I'm good with that.
where did you see that?
First page
E1.
that is?
Yeah.
First
E1.
page. I think I saw a bond in here too, yes. I mean, permanent. Great.
Are you asking him to put the
No,
inspections by the wetland control
on
officer?
the notes.
Pardon? You found it?
Well,
This is the other page.
No, I know.
So there's notes right here that say, no machinery within the 100 feet, spill kit.
Right.
Well inspector shall be present at the time of silt fence installation and removal.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
I was just reading it.
under construction sequence, it says about the inspector coming to.
Great, fine. All right, is there any other questions, the applicant? Any other questions? All right, so let me throw this out here for the board. I think that we have a pretty complete application here. There's a couple of items that are missing, but I'm willing to say that if we get them in within a reasonable time frame, maybe by Monday, so this way we can you can get it out for advertisement, that we can move forward with this. The things that would be required are the gutter and leader needs to be on the plan. The proposed rain garden and showing that the leader is going to the rain garden. The updated rain garden calcs, so that needs to be submitted, although that needs to go to our town engineer, but that can go after we advertise for it, as long as we have it before we actually approve the application, and then a note indicating on the plan that all work to be done by hand. So it's those three things. So it's the gutter and leader on the actual plans, the updated rain garden calcs, and a note saying all work to be done by hand.
Great.
I'd like to entertain a motion with those three, what do we call them? Constraints?
I so moved.
That if done by Monday, we can accept the application as complete.
I so moved.
Moved by Vince, second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Is he sure he has all those things?
Pardon?
Is he sure he knows all those items?
You got those three things? Right?
I can take a picture of that.
Yeah,
Sure.
all photograph.
Hopefully you can read it.
Yeah.
It was the gutter and leader, updated rain garden calcs, and a note on the plan saying all work to be done by hand. By Monday, make sure you get it to Rose so we can advertise for it. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda is Reed William, 274 East Lake Boulevard, tax map 65.13-1-2. Construct a 247 square foot second floor addition. Please come to the podium and state your name.
Kayleen Zico. I'm working with Hudson Design, the architect on the job.
And if you could state your name as well, sir.
James Copeland. I'm the architect for the project.
Thank you. All right. So please come up and tell us about this project.
So we have a pre-existing non-conforming structure. We've gotten through zoning board, so we're here at the Environmental Conservation Board. We are located on East Lake Boulevard, right next to the water. So we do have a bit of the house that's already within the 100-foot setback. So we're proposing to add a second-story addition that's within the same footprint of the existing house, just kind of going up in height. So that will involve new gutters being installed, but none of the roof area is being expanded beyond what was already existing. There's a portion of the patio that's being expanded. It's kind of in this portion here, where there was actually an existing bathroom, exterior bathroom that we removed. So we're kind of shifting the roof area to the front of the house where we have a new entry, and then redoing that portion of the patio. Other than that, the new exterior improvements include a new patio at the basement floor, which would include excavation of the ground area there, and probably some drainage measures as well.
So the patio that you're gonna be, or the patio that you're gonna be redoing on the outside, that's an existing patio. Is the outline of it staying the same? Is it staying in the same footprint as well?
It is, yeah. It's basically reclaiming some interior space as exterior. So there was a portion, I can show you. So if you look on these existing drawings, there's a cabana noted. We're removing that and replacing it with exterior patio space.
Got it.
How much is the footprint changing?
A total of about 100 square feet. The only portion of the footprint that's expanding is that front entryway,
Okay.
but we're also taking that cabana out.
That cabana out.
Right.
What cabana out?
It's not listed on the site plan. I can submit the existing floor plan drawings if that would be
That's okay.
helpful.
I'm sorry. Now, the existing house, how, are you changing the roof line of the existing house besides the addition you talked about?
We're raising the roof line on a portion of it.
Right. Okay. How much of the portion are you raising? You're adding another story in a certain area, right?
Right, but only over the
Right.
kind of portion on the lower part of the building.
Okay.
The current, or I guess the reclaimed patio you're doing is going to be impervious? What is it, flagstone or?
It's a bluestone paver.
Bluestone.
Mhm.
You show some stairways here. Are they going to be changed at all?
Only the one that was in front of the cabana, it'll have to be shifted.
Do they have a limit of disturbance on the map here?
I don't see anything. Well, wait a second, let me take it. No, there's nothing about the limit of disturbance.
So the excavation that's gonna be going on, how far outside of the existing footprint are you gonna be needing to excavate?
It's 10 feet from the footprint of the building.
One of the things we need is a area of disturbance. We
Okay.
calculate an area of disturbance. Okay, and show it clearly on the plan, okay?
Okay.
And outline it. I think you know what to do.
Are we gonna be considering the house itself, because the work is gonna be doing in there, at all part of the disturbance, or is it just outside of the footprint? Of the existing footprint? Like area of disturbance outside of the existing footprint?
Yeah,
Right.
Put the, well, two things. Area disturbance, okay, for the entire lot, and area disturbance within the 100-foot area buffer.
Including exterior patios
whatever the surface disturbance is,
Okay,
okay? For the entire lot and so two numbers, okay? For the entire lot and for the area that's within 100 feet, okay?
okay.
Can you come up to the mic just so folks at home can hear us?
Just clarify area of disturbance, just, is that,
Whatever surface area you disturb.
so if the house has an existing footprint and that stays the same, you're not talking about,
If you're disturbing it, okay, then we want to know. I mean, if it's part of the surface area, yes, we want to know.
thank you.
When you do it and you come back, you can explain exactly what your question is or something like that. You can answer it when you see the plans. Oh, okay.
The 4 footings that are gonna be poured in the rear of the building, that is for, that's
It's
for
shown there.
the
Pergola?
Pergola.
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 Yeah, we don't need a rain garden for a pergola.
Well, underneath the pergola is impervious. It is, it's a,
Oh, you're putting a patio under that. Is that the slate?
That's
blue
existing,
stone?
yeah.
Oh, okay, that's different.
the footings are within the current patio as well, right?
All but one. You can kind of see the 4, well,
Yep,
so there's one that's slightly outside of it.
got it.
You say here you have a dry well overflow to connect to existing drain pipe. Where's the existing drain pipe?
That's the long black line that runs to the seawall.
So that little area with your new dry well is going to connect to that line.
Yeah, our thought was to have all of the leaders on that side of the house, since there's already a kind of garage drain in front of the door, to mitigate the silt and things running right into the lake.
Mhm.
So we would kind of fill up the dry well first before
Okay.
having the overflow go into the existing pipe to the sea, or
Okay.
lake.
Drywell is that the same thing as a Coltec, right? Coltec's the brand.
Somewhat the same, yeah. But that's a
It's more
manufactured
vertical
type.
than
This is
horizontal,
more
yeah.
constructed type.
Gotcha. So do we need a,
I'm
we need
assuming,
a calculation for that, right? For the dry well?
What happens now in that area?
Right now, all the leaders spill out onto the ground. They kind of collect silt with them, and they, at least on this portion of the house where the driveway meets the house, it runs into a linear drain that's existing,
Okay.
and the previous owners of the home said they have to regularly clean it out. It gets clogged with dirt and leaves and all the other stuff.
I guess our question is the dry well you're proposing going to be a sufficient size?
And that we would show calculations for.
Okay, fine.
Have you considered other water quality options aside from dry well? Can you show me where it is on the map?
Right here.
Oh, it's right outside the garage. I'm saying that, so we had, I mentioned before for the last applicant about rain gardens. So I don't know if you have considered rain gardens versus dry wells yourselves, but we're very amicable towards rain gardens if that's what you would prefer. And obviously, it takes up a little bit more space, but it is a garden itself, so it's totally up to you. As a board, we're happy with any sort of mitigation that you provide on the plans here.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference?
No, there is a lot of tree cover though, so I'm not sure how much things might grow if they're covered with shade.
What increased area of imperviousness are we talking about? Did I read something here about 247 feet or something like that?
That's the square footage of the second story addition
Okay.
that's within the existing
Okay,
footprint.
so what is increase of the footprint, what is the increase in impervious area?
There would
Roofing
be
or whatever?
the 100 feet of the basement patio outcrop, and then the new addition on the front, which is about 100 feet as well.
How much, area-wise?
So you're saying it's 200 square feet?
Roughly, yes.
Oh, okay, so.
We'll need that as
Yeah,
a.
So a rain
actual
garden for
number.
200 square feet should not be very big. Should
Right.
be able to fit it in someplace.
Okay.
And I like trees, so I don't want to see too many trees. Okay. If you prefer to put it into some sort of a dry well, okay, again, if you could just show us how you're mitigating it, it'd be fine.
Right, and so
Okay.
we'll need another number as well. You were talking about area disturbance before. We'll need a number of the net increase in impervious area within the 100-foot buffer.
Within the 100-foot buffer,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay. So that means anything that's kind of within this line?
Yes, anything that's within the
Right.
100-foot buffer line to the lake, correct. Yeah. Right. So another note that we'll need in your construction sequence, or your narrative, I'm sorry, in the phase one, it should almost be a pre-phase one, is the wetlands inspector needs to come out. So after you install any silt fence and erosion control measures, you need to call the wetlands inspector. He comes out and inspects those, makes sure that they're installed properly, and then gives you the go-ahead to start work. And then at the end of your sequence, whenever that is, before you remove the erosion control measures, you have to call him again. He comes and checks the site, makes sure it's to the specs, and then says, go ahead, remove the erosion control measures. It's just a call up to the building department. Engineering.
You have some new downspouts to drain to daylight. Are these replacing existing downspouts, or are they new?
Since we're adding a second floor, we'd have to kind of extend those existing.
Okay, now it says to daylight, which
Right.
means that you're just gonna drop it down in the leader and let it go out on the ground?
Right, we would have a kind of, footing so it wouldn't wash away the water
Okay.
that's there.
And
Ground.
these are new, right?
They're new, but only in terms of height or length. They do have existing leaders on the house now, but since we're raising the height of the house, we'll have to basically replace them.
It makes me a little concerned that they're going to what you call daylight, okay? They're just being dumped on the ground, okay? That might be a location, one or more of those might be connected to a rain garden. Okay, it would make me feel a little bit better, okay, that it's not just gonna hit the ground and erode, okay, because you're probably adding a little bit to the, little bit of increase in volume of the water too, so I don't know. It's very difficult without seeing it, okay? So if you could connect those, at least some of that, or
Which
one of
one are
those.
you looking at?
There's two of them, there's three actually, there's one in the front, and there's one in here, and one here.
So, I don't know if can you see the picture up here, Vince? It looks like will be on the far side of on the far right there.
Yeah,
And that's one, where's the
Oh,
second leader?
is it, where are all the trees? Oh, okay, so if you put a rain garden over here somewhere, I don't know whether they just like lawn or what, but if you could add a rain garden for the increase in imperviousness and calculate, make it sized accordingly, that might be good. Rain gardens could be a lot of flowers too. in that area.
Right.
Is this an actual photo?
No, it's a rendering of the
Okay, fine,
proposed.
that's
Rendering
okay.
of what's gonna happen.
Correct.
That's what's gonna happen, okay. That's,
If there's a rain garden, it would be around that bush in that area.
Yeah,
well, you got plenty of places to
Yeah.
put your rain garden, that's for sure.
yeah, you got plenty of options of where you might want to put it. Off a leader is always the easiest. If you want to put it where that dry well was going to be, you can do that. Whatever.
Do you
There's
have
plenty of
a
options.
photo of the existing house?
Not with me. I
I
do
could
have
give you an area, but
elevations.
that's about it.
Can you take a photo of the existing house from the same perspective as this here? And
Yeah.
bring it- I'd like to see exactly, that gives me a much better feeling.
So this
It's
is
an
the house
aerial,
right
but-
here,
You know, yeah.
and that's,
Go to Zillow, you might be able to get it.
not from the back though.
No.
No.
All right, other things. So I assume that there's going to be heavy machinery used? Are you bringing in any bobcats? Are you bringing in excavators?
Bobcat.
Trucks? Bobcat? All right, so, because there's heavy machinery on site, you need a few other things noted. One is that a spill kit needs to be kept on site whenever heavy machinery is there. I don't know if you have that on the plan already?
No.
Okay, so spill kit is basically,
You leak oil or gas.
yes, exactly. Okay, so spill kit on site. We need a note. My pen is dying. We need a note that no fueling will be done within the 100-foot buffer. No fueling. 100 foot. We need a note that says if you're storing it overnight, well, don't store it overnight within the 100-foot buffer. But I do recommend that if you are storing it overnight on site, that you park it on poly. So that's something that we do require if you are going to be keeping it within a 100-foot buffer. That's just a plastic sheeting. So this way you park it overnight, it sits there, and while it's sitting, if it does leak, it's not leaking into the ground, it leaks onto a plastic sheet. You can pick those up at Home Depot.
Assuming there's level ground.
Right, well, even if it's not, you just throw it down. Then it pools off and runs, yeah, I know.
You're showing two, you're showing a proposed silt fencing and then proposed hay bales. We don't usually like hay bales.
Yeah,
Okay.
just silt fencing, wire backed.
I get if I had an idea what it looked like in the backyard, okay? You have the silt fencing. Let me put it like this. If the town engineer said that second line could be just hay bales, and I could see why you might have some reason, because a silt fencing has to be dug into the ground, and you may not want to, depending on what's there, you may not want to disturb it, and if we can prevent that, that would be nice. So maybe just hay bales would be okay. If that's okay with the town engineer, it would be okay with me.
Why wouldn't we just say, put a second row of silt fencing or a
Because
first row?
it depends, well, they
You're
do have,
talking about
they do have a
disturbance.
silt fence in here.
I know, that's what I'm saying, why do they
Because
even
you
need
have-
it?
Because,
Why
well,
would they even
they
need it?
seem to think they needed it, so that's
Do you have
why.
any reason why you stuck the hay bales on there?
More because we're kind of addressing the whole backside with the footings, the new patios, just to kind of grasp a more large area than just the silt fence would.
Again, if there is a lawn back there, and maybe they could avoid digging up the lawn, because it has to be sunk into the ground.
No, but I'm saying, I don't even know why they would need hay bales. If you put a silt fence just across the whole property, that would be sufficient, wouldn't it? That's what I don't think that there would be any
You
other
want to
issue
try
with
to
that.
contain it. There's probably, most of the work is going to be done over here.
Right.
Contain
This
it.
is a silt fence right here, right?
No, this is a silt fence, and this is a silt fence.
What's this one?
That's just a line,
Oh. Oh, I see.
okay?
If you move your hay bales up, we could also, they can move that up and just replace it
What
with.
he's trying to say is, instead of having two, okay, just have one short silt fence, one long hay bale, have one long silt fence.
Right,
Is that okay?
yeah, that's what I'm.
And try to move it, put it between your silt fence and your hay bales, okay? Up as close as feasible, okay? And, yeah, I'm looking at this, I'm assuming that the rendering shows that the forward patio here is about where it is existing now. And that's inaccurate, okay? So if you put it just beyond that,
Yeah, just outside.
you have to consider what you're gonna be doing for construction, and get exactly where the location is, that'd be fine, I think.
But generally, the reason, the closer you can be to your construction with this, the
The
less you disturb downhill, great. Also, hay bales, we generally stay away from as much as possible. Sometimes they're necessary, like on stockpile areas, but if we can use just silt fence, that's preferable.
There's not gonna be any stockpile areas, or is there?
What are you using the Bobcat for? I'm not sure.
The excavation mainly for the new basement patio.
Okay.
Is there gonna be a stockpile area at all? If there is, okay, you don't have to answer now. If there is, then you have to show the location on the plan and some sort of detail about how you're gonna contain it.
So generally, that detail looks like a circle, silt fence around it, hay bales to prop the walls, and then you put all the dirt that you excavate in that's stockpile area. Are you gonna be bringing in any fill for this?
No.
Okay. Are you gonna be removing fill, removing dirt?
Anything we remove, I think you'd be better to answer this question, because I'm not
But
as
you don't have
apt
to
with
answer it now.
construction.
That'll be just a question that
It's
we'll
something
ask.
to think about.
If there is some volume, you're going to just specify it on the plan or something like that, okay?
If they remove some, we don't care, right? If they
If they-
bringing it in.
Well, that's why I said whatever the volume is. If they tell us the volume is a small amount, we'll just forget about it. It's
Right.
not a point, and leave it alone.
There will be a landscape plan, and the
Okay.
idea is to balance,
Okay.
use the fill
Okay,
in the front yard.
fine,
Okay.
No, no, good.
that's good.
There's not, shouldn't be that much.
Let's see, what else? Erosion control, erosion. Oh, and you're actually in point 5 here on this erosion control plan, you can add some of the stuff that we've talked about in there. Hydraulic will be installed. Okay, right, fine. Flow well. Not familiar.
This is updated version of 55-gallon drums.
Yep, basically. Okay.
Where is the new catch basin?
That's out front. That was more of a mitigation to not have a leader.
Okay.
So we also need a few other things for the file. We need a copy of the deed.
That was submitted with.
Must have missed it.
It's kind of a legal size paper.
That's it. Go ahead. Location map, copy of deed, project narrative, site plan. Yep. Drainage system, stormwater practices, erosion and sediment control, correspondence, short form filements, so, yep, silt fence, area of disturbance we talked about. It's all on my list.
Is there-
I mean, there's
is
a lot of
there-
things here, but.
It says approximately existing septic tank location, that's not gonna cause a problem or anything, you're not doing anything close to that.
No.
And when, it's, interesting, it says approximate, how approximate is that, if you, is that, plus or minus 5 feet or plus or minus 50 feet?
Plus or minus 2 or 3 feet.
2 or 3 feet? Okay.
So the area where the steps are, you're gonna use the fill there to raise it?
No, I'm sorry, what was your question again?
The topography there, where the steps are that goes up to the house? Yeah.
This mound is existing.
It's existing, that's what I want to know, thank you.
Just curiosity, how old is the existing house?
53?
It was built in 53 or it's 53 years old?
It's 1953.
Okay.
I got nothing else. There's a whole bunch of things here. I don't think, we can't accept this as complete tonight, but you've got a bunch of homework, and we certainly can see you back in 2 weeks at our next meeting.
Photograph or anything?
Right, so I have a whole list here. If you want to take a quick picture, I know you guys are taking notes as well. Hopefully you can read it. It's number 2 downwards. 2 weeks. If you have all the stuff into Rose, then our next meeting is in 2 weeks.
Yes. First and third Thursday of the month. You'll be going back on the third Thursday.
Do you have any questions for us?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and definitely appreciate the photographs that you bring in. It helps,
looks
set,
very
yeah,
nice.
set what the project is going to be. Helps visualize. Appreciate it.
Question on the.
Yes.
We're, our client, fairly new to the area, they like to swim. How healthy is the lake?
He's the man to ask over there.
I'm the chairman of the Lake Mahopac Park District.
It's good.
They shouldn't worry, have to worry.
I go in it, my granddaughter goes in it, so we're okay. It's a good lake,
Good.
if you want.
They're,
I have major page reports on it if you want, whatever. It's good.
they're moving up from Texas. I think they'll be a good addition to the community.
Oh,
Good.
People.
They might find the winters here a little choppy, but
Oh, they'll enjoy them a lot more.
Well, maybe they can bring some tornadoes
Fair.
up here with them.
all right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great evening.
All right.
We have
Can we approve anything?
potentially, let's see, no, we cannot.
No.
117, Barnett absent, 37, Toronto absent, 321, Toronto absent. Can't approve anything. All right, so with that, are there any other topics anybody wants to bring up? All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to
So
close the meeting.
move to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Have a good night.